Hello, and welcome to the Subspace bi-weekly DevSync. Today we've got a couple of announcements to make. We've got some highlights to talk about, actually quite a few highlights to talk about from the project over the last couple of weeks. And then anything else anybody wants to talk about after we get through that. To start, we do have a couple of new team members. First we have Avi. Avi, you want to say hi? Avi is
Hey,
Avi is
hey community.
a he's a smart contract developer, coming with some great experience. We're looking forward to having him on the team. Started a week ago. And then we also got Mark. I'm not going to attempt on your whole name, but you want to go ahead and say hi.
Hi
Um,
everyone.
Mark is coming from French Canada, French Canada, yes, from Quebec.
Quebec.
Quebec. And he's working part-time as a full stack and Solidity dev as well. So it's been great to have him. He's actually been around now, I think, for a few weeks. So the faucet was something he worked closely with Emil and the ecosystem team on to get live. It's the first project. So welcome. All right. So I guess the big news is that we are working hard prepping for Gemini 3G, kind of the next phase in the incentivized testnet. There's lots of new things coming with 3G, and we'll be talking about those in a little more detail from different team members here in a minute. But a high level, stake wars is a big thing, and then we've also got which Jim will be talking about. We also got proof of time and compact blocks and some other kind of more general network upgrades that will be coming as well. Right now, we are hard at work testing all of these things in the DevNet. So that's depending on how quickly we can get through any bugs we find in DevNet, will kind of dictate when we are going to see the Gemini 3G launch. So, all right, to start off kind of talking about these things that are upcoming and actually the current state of the network as well. Nazar.
Hey folks, so quick stats. We have almost 11,000 nodes on the current Gemini 3F. Most of them appear to be synced and supposedly producing some blocks. In terms of the space pledged, we have 3.8 petabytes of space right now. Some might be underwhelmed. It was apparently higher before, but that was actually a different formula. The formula was initially incorrect, so it was showing more space than was actually present. Um, and this number is growing last few days. I don't think it is growing because there are many more new farmers. It's more likely due to the improvements we've been doing. We've done some improvements to the networking stack to retrieve pieces faster and maintain connections better. We have done some plotting and farming improvements that reduce CPU usage and make it more likely that you will be able to farm on larger plots. And there were some also Windows fixes. There were several releases which didn't work well on large farms. We kind of had to roll it back a little bit in terms of features. Most of this stuff was actually developed on the main branch, which is not compatible with Gemini 3F, but we backported all of those changes into Gemini 3F to get some testing before the next version. But as Jeremy mentioned, those and many other improvements are already in the DevNet, which we are testing with our team. If someone feels adventurous, they can try to join DevNet as well, but there are no rewards. Everything will be wiped several times probably. But it is helping us to understand how things work and to prepare for Gemini 3G. So any help there is appreciated. There was a lot of feedback over the last few weeks from the community in general about how things are working, what setups they have, how they configure Farmer, what parameters they are tuning. There was one research kind of thread that was especially interesting from Sergey Leshy that was testing different compilation options, different compiler versions. And in some cases, he was able to get something like 35-40% improvement for Chia proof of space benchmark just by changing compiler to newer version and changing some LLVM inlining limits. So I think we'll be testing that as well, and we'll likely have better performance going into Gemini 3G comparing to 3F. Um, including because of those things. So any input from the community is helping us to make software better. Keep it coming.
Great. Thanks for the update, Nazar. That's great to hear. I had missed that conversation. So that's great stuff. All right. So we also had in the last week or over the weekend a bit of a contingent at ETH Rome, however you're supposed to say that. Daria, you want to kind of give us an update on what you guys were doing there?
Yeah, we decided to work some extra, like we don't work enough. So we decided to work some extra more over the weekend. And so, yeah, there was the first official ETH hackathon in Rome. So I applied and I recruited Fredike, who recruited Jem, and who also recruited Diana. So we ended up representing like a Subspace team, which was real fun because none of us is really a developer. So that was a big challenge. But we had a blast. We had a roller coaster of emotions. We went from a great idea to basically giving up on Saturday night to then miraculously saving the project and ended up demoing something working by Sunday morning. It was very taxing. It was very fun. We won a bounty from our friends at Polkadot. Also, thanks to us kind of being a substrate chain, so they knew us, heard about us already. And Fredike was awesome at networking every sponsor, everybody who was there. We also forged some great relationships coming forward with the Graph and with some other people present there. So hopefully it's also going to help Subspace as well. And we built a project that was using Sapiel, which is the AI framework that was built internally at Subspace a couple of months back. So we made it go read some DAO proposals in Polkadot and summarize them. And the project was to basically port familiar to everybody Web2 experience to Web3 so that people are more engaged and participating in various DAOs, because it's a big problem for DAOs that less than like 1%, 5% people actually show up and vote. So if we cut out all the middlemen and make a very familiar experience, the engagement should be higher. That's what we tried to achieve. Then we did our best. It was fun. If you, Jim, want to add something, feel free.
No, just that I had an absolute blast working with Daria and Fredike and Diana, and I'm working on a forum post so you can come along for the journey. Yeah, it was an absolute roller coaster, and yeah, I'm surprised I'm not asleep, to be honest, because it was. I feel like it's a young man's game. It was pretty taxing on me, but yeah, it was really good fun.
Sounds great. I wish I'd been out in Europe. It sounds like it was a blast.
We could have used your help, definitely, Jeremy.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good segue into Jim. You want to talk? I mentioned coming with Gemini 3G is going to be Stake Wars, which we're still kind of just finishing up the design of. You want to kind of give an update on that?
Yeah, sure. So it's going to be quite brief at this stage. But as Jeremy says, 3G is the network that we want to run Stake Wars on. There's no reason why that's not going to happen at the moment. Obviously, we're going to want to release it and ensure stability. We've got an internal timeline on how that's going to look. We have been working feverishly on getting the finer points of the mechanics locked in. And I feel like we've got everything there now. We are just making sure that we can get final approval on the minutiae of the detail. But what I can say is that you can expect announcements coming later on this week and into next week, as we're ready to share exactly how it's going to work, how you can participate. There's exciting new world of being an operator or a nominator, staking, the whole shebang. So yeah, stay tuned for further updates. We'll be putting stuff on the forum and cross-posting into Discord. But yeah, thanks.
All right, amazing. All right, a little bit of a shift here. I just wanted to, I talked about DevNet a bit and how critical that is in our testing prior to Gemini 3G. We've run that kind of as an internal test net, but one of the projects we've been working on and primarily Mohammed's been working on is making it so that every developer can kind of create their own ephemeral DevNet and try and move this process of DevNet testing quicker. Mohammed, I asked you if you could just give a quick update of where we're at with that and how that will look for the developers.
Yeah, Jeremy, you caught me off guard there. Um, yeah, so basically, as Jeremy said, we can spin up, each developer can spin up their own DevNet, so their own customizations. Obviously, it just pulls in their branch. You provide your branch as a parameter, and it clones it and builds the Docker images based on your branch. It works with AWS and Hetzner 1.2 if we need, but we got the AWS one going. And also, soon it'll be got a PR going, so hopefully we can launch it with CI with a click of a button, so you don't have to fiddle around with Terraform and learning that so much, and you can deploy easily with GitHub Actions to the infrastructure in AWS. Jeremy, I think you muted.
Sorry. I said that's great. Looking forward to seeing it in action. I think it's going to help move things along more, much more quickly as in our testing phases and getting things kind of tested before we hit the more public DevNet and then Gemini 3 test nets. So, all right. Well, that's all I had slated to discuss, unless there's anything else from the team anybody wanted to talk about. All right. Well, we will see everyone back in 2 weeks.